Now we are back to our original VLOOKUP formula sheet. Here I'll be explaining you how to use VLOOKUP function along with match function. We'll be using match function in column index in our VLOOKUP parameters. So in our previous example, we have hard-coded the column index value, just like 2 here, 3 here, as you can see here, column index. Instead of that, we'll be applying match function to derive that particular column index dynamically. So in this particular small table, I have a list for divisions A to E, as you can from this particular table here you can see. And now I have a list for KPIs as well. So sales, cost of sales and profit, which is in list format. So I'll be writing VLOOKUP formula here. Lookup value is our division name, which is in H18 here. Table array would remain same, which is B12 to E17. Now instead of column index hard-coded, we want a dynamic result. So to do that, we need to use match function. So we are applying match function. So match, and what is our lookup value? We want the position of sales, cost of sales and profit depending upon the values we put in this particular cell. So in G19, whatever the value is, we want the column index accordingly. So G19 would be a lookup value. Lookup array would be this particular row. And we have to make sure that they are in sync with the same VLOOKUP table array. So it has to start from column B, and accordingly you have to select the row. So it will be B12 to E12, and we want exact match. And again for VLOOKUP formula also we want exact match. So we'll selecting false and press enter. Now I got 7500 sales KPI for division B, which is correct. You can see here. But now the best thing is if I change to cost of sales, I get 6000 for division B, which is correct. Similarly, if I select profit, if I select division E, I get 2650, which is correct. And if I change to division A, I get profit of 500, which is correct. So this way you can make VLOOKUP formula more powerful with the help of match function in this kind of scenario. So I'll be going through a more complex version of VLOOKUP again. We'll be selecting a table array as a dynamic parameter. So let's look into that as well. Now in this example, we'll be using dynamic table arrays with the help of indirect function and name ranges. So instead of this kind of data, which is one table for all division and all KPIs are listed properly in one table, suppose we have division wise KPIs and there are different tables for each division. So we have sales, cost of sales, profit for division A. Similarly, same structure for division B, division C, division D and E. Now we want to pull these KPIs dynamically based on the input selection like sales, cost of sales and profit, and also division wise we want. So it has to be division B, division A, division C. So how to achieve that? Now let's write this formula from the scratch. So first step would be to create table names and name ranges for individual tables from division A till division E. So to do that, we have to select this particular portion for division A, and we have to go to this name of cell and type division A. Now as I mentioned in our name range formula explanation, there cannot be any space at all. Either it has to be underscore or a dot, but I can write directly division A as well. If I want to give a additional space, I have to use underscore like this. So I'll be writing the name of this particular range division underscore A. Similarly, I'll be creating for division B. So I'll be typing division underscore B. Similarly for division C range, I'll be typing division underscore C. Now we have all the table names given for each individual table ranges. Division underscore A, B, C, D and E. Now next step is to create a data validation with the same names as we have given here, because we'll be converting this particular tax name with the help of indirect function to a reference. So let's create that first. So I'll be creating list here division underscore A, and I'll just copy it and now this particular text strings are exactly same as our names, as you can see here. It has to be same, otherwise our indirect function will not convert these references from a text string. Now we'll be creating in this particular cell a list of these names because we want dynamic table array, so we have to create a list for these particular names which are exactly the names of individual tables. So we'll go to data validation from a list, and this is our range. So we got the list here. Now this list itself is a name for a particular data set or reference or range. Now let's write VLOOKUP formula with the help of indirect function and name ranges. So VLOOKUP. So lookup values are KPIs. And what would be the table array? We want dynamic table array based on this name. So we'll be selecting this particular value, and I'll show you what happens if you don't use indirect function along with name ranges. So I'll be selecting division underscore a, which is nothing but h42, and our column index would remain same because all the tables have a second column as our KPI value. So we'll be selecting 2, and we of course want false as the exact match. I got an error. Why? Because Excel doesn't recognize this as a reference, and to do that we need to use indirect function along with the name ranges. So I'll be selecting indirect, and I'll be completing the bracket for h42. And now if I press enter, I get the accurate value for profit for division A, which is correct. So if I change to division B, I get 1500, which is correct, which is a profit of division B. If I select division D, I get 1000 as a value, which is correct. But if I select here sales, I get division D sales, which is 8500, which is correct here. So you can create dynamic table arrays as well. You have to use indirect function along with name ranges. So we'll be using same technique in our prepayment model as well to create a dynamic prepayment summary. Thank you for watching.